So today we're going to go over a Danfoss controller. We're going to learn a thing or two about a thing or two. Now this is a video for refrigeration technicians, HVAC technicians, not for EMS people. Now maybe if you're an EMS person, you might learn a thing or two about a thing or two, but for the most part this is just the basics. What do you need? Like 99% of the time, just run-of-the-mill, troubleshooting and whatever. How do I get the information I need on a Danfoss system in about 30 minutes? Now, please be graceful with me. Throughout my video, I say 10 minutes, and then I say 15 minutes, and then I say 20 minutes. It ended up being 30. I'm long-winded. I can't help it. Anyway, here we go. We'll learn a thing or two about a thing or two. Alright, so we're going to get into this super quick. So obviously you got your rack B. You have your condenser. So you go down, you got your scrolly buttons right there. You hit down, okay. Now you're in your condenser. So in this menu, you're going to have your discharge, what your target is, whether or not it's in split, right, your inverter status, your drop leg temperature, and what condenser fans are on, right? Now, up here you have this ribbon right there. I call it a ribbon or menu options. If you just hit up and scroll up all the way, right, you can go over to settings. Now in settings, you can see how exactly your condenser is set. The fan type, number of fans, staging, individual, discharge pressure. So for instance, something useful for you might actually be if you want to, for instance, change your split temperature. Split when below 70. You just hit OK, and then there you go. You can change whatever it happens to be. Also, your Danfoss controller's default password will be 12345. That's typically what they come default with on every single Danfoss controller, except, unless you work for a particular company. Now, we look up here, we have a set point, what it's currently at, and what it's currently doing, maintaining capacity on condenser B. Now, we're going to go up. Now, if you hit page up and page down, you move a little bit quicker. So you go to the menus much quicker. So we're going to go up. Now we're going to go to service. Now service, typically if you go to service on something, so let's say if you go to service on condenser, you're going to have, typically you'll have certain things near the top that are significant to what you're currently in. But your service menu actually goes into the entire menu. So for example, whether or not we want to turn on a compressor. So those are the compressors down there. Whether or not we want to turn those on, we can get into the service menu. And then we can go down here. You can see we got the master defrost differential valve. We got a split, bypass. Now if we keep going down, we'll actually have our cases. Whether or not we want to refrigerate our cases. And all you do is you just click OK. And you can turn manual on, manual off. Now you need to take out your overrides if you put them in. Now if we keep going down, we're just going to hit page down. We can keep looking. We even have defrost, hot gas defrost, case B53. Now if we keep going down in this service menu, we have liquid level, and then we have our offsets. So this is also where we're going to find our sensor offsets. So you can see B32, that's our case. Offset is 1, right? This is all under this service menu. Now, we're going to go back to home. Now you can hit the home menu or you can hit escape a couple times. We're going to go home. Now we're home. So from there, we actually have suction groups as well. So typically, the way that at least I deal with most Danfoss controllers and how they're configured is you have a suction group, which is plus 18. That means that this particular group, this temperature, so if we hit OK on it, at a set point of 52.3 for our 507 refrigerant, see refrigerant 507 right there, that we are targeting a positive 18 degree evaporator coil, right? And underneath that suction group, so I hit escape to go back, underneath that suction group, we have all of these cases which all belong to that suction group. Now I'm going to hit page down, and if we keep going, we're going to see that there's another suction group. There should be multiple suction groups on here. Actually, on this rack, there is not multiple suction groups. So we're going to go to the rack next to it just to show you. If we come over here, we can see right there, we have a suction group at the top, negative 28. We go down a little bit, we have negative 18. So all of those cases from there down to there are targeting negative 28. Oh, where all the cases down there below that one are targeting negative 18. Sorry, let me reiterate on that. Negative 18 coil, negative 28 coil, so on and so forth. All the suction groups are targeting a coil temperature, not a case temperature. So underneath your suction group, you got all kinds of options in there. So we go in there and you can see that, again, we have all the compressors on that suction group and which ones are on and off. Now, in this case, this rack just has all the compressors on one suction group. So what does that mean? Well, it means, I'll just show you quick. I know this is the Danfoss video, but hey, just to show you. But basically, if we look at over here, if we come through here, let me turn on my light. These two pipes, this suction headers, 1 and 2, they are separated from one another. So this suction header is at a different pressure than this suction header right there. Suction groups. They're suctions that are grouped together, okay? Now on this one, it's just one long suction header. There's no different groups on that. Anyway, we're gonna go back to the controller now and keep learning. So underneath status, you have, maintaining capacity, what it's currently doing, the set point, what it's targeting up there, what its name is, and we have the actual, the target, the compressors, and their corresponding horsepower. This is all underneath status, right? And whether or not they're on. Now, if you go up here to settings, this is where you can set things like what PSI are you targeting. Now, it says right there that we're targeting 48. So why does it say up here we're targeting 53? Well, because there's a float in here. So there's like a certain amount that this whole rack can float up if the rack seems to be satisfying accurately. And we can find that in here. And compressor type, reciprocating, compressor size. Typically there's a float option in here. Receiver, surge tank, liquid level, heat reclaim. So we have all these settings here that we can control. So if we install, let's say, a larger compressor for whatever reason, we can see right here, maximum float 5. Okay, you can adjust your float. Now if we go up here, again, the service, you'll notice that we actually go back to the same exact menu we were before. Now, one more thing we can go to is a case. We're gonna select our case. Again, we'll hit OK. Alrighty. Now we're in here. So you can see that we have the temperature our case is at. So we have a control. So the control is if it's case, typically there are multiple cases together that are all on the same circuit that are averaged. So if we go back here, we'll see we have 31A and 31B. Those two are averaged with one another. So if we go to status, the control is the average, and then the 31A is the actual for that specific case, okay? And then we have the target, the range, refrigeration times. Now under settings on cases is where you're gonna get not only your target, where if you wanted, you could change it by hitting OK and then popping in your numbers and hitting OK again. You can change it if you want, but you're also gonna get your defrost, time off, 140, termination temperature, and you're gonna get your times a day that you have your defrost. Number of the defrost per day, 4, duration, 40, times a day, 0, 6, 12, 18. So you can see all those options under settings. We'll go back up. Now, if we go to service, again, this is where it changes slightly. So we can actually manually put this case into a defrost right there, the defrost operation. Now, if we click on that and hit manual on and then hit OK, it'll put our case in a defrost for this 60 minutes. And typically, always check though, it'll automatically take you out. Another option that's very important with the Danfoss controller is graphing. So let's say I want to know what's going on with this juice case. So I'm going to hit OK on it. I'm going to go down to the control. I want to know what the average is doing. All right, actually, I want to know what the specific case is doing. Then you hit this menu option right there, device history. Now we got a graph, and now we can go through and look. Now up here we have our rate. So if I change my rate to 10 minutes, that means every 10 minutes, so every one of those little points are 10 minutes on there. Now, if I go over to here, the latest, it's gonna give me the latest on there. Now, right now, I accidentally zoomed in too far. Now, if you hit this page up and page down, if I hit page up, I zoom out. If I hit page down, I zoom in. So what I'm doing is I'm changing my scale on this side of the graph. Now, page up zooms this number on this side. It increases, actually, it goes up on the x-axis. So you're going higher up on it. You're not increasing the size, you're just moving up. So now I have this whole graph, and so you really understand. So this is, so it's 0, 10, 10, hit page up. Now it's -10 to 80, hit page up again. Okay, now it's 20 to 90. Okay, it kind of shifts the whole thing up, and sometimes now it's 20 to 90, and now sometimes it actually just also kind of stretches it out. I don't know, it just configures it differently. Anyway, play with it, it does interesting things. View, and every one of those points is every 10 minutes, because that's my rate. Now if I hit next, you'll see I can navigate through, and I can actually look up there, and I can see, what's going on up there, which is that it's at 34 degrees at 10:50. Actually, sorry, 8:50 at 11:05/2022. So you can see that that's where I can get that information. Now, if I wanted to graph something additional, up here on select, I can hit OK. I can go to relays, and let's say case 49, I want to know when it is or is not in refrigeration. So let's say I go to case 49, there's got to be a refrigeration for that. Or you know what? So I could go into refrigeration, or I could also, up at the top, you can select what you want. So I can do relays. So if I wanted to, I could, so right there, 49, I'm gonna hit yes. So now that is going to be graphed as well. Now I'm gonna also go up to the top. So I just clicked on hitting up. I'm gonna go to sensors. And I also want to know what the suction pressure is. So suction pressure, I'm gonna hit OK, yes. Now hit escape. There we go. So now I can see what my case is doing when it is and is not in in refrigeration. See, on, off, right there, on and off, and what the suction pressure is doing. And at the top, it gives you color-coded what is going on. And this is a way that you can accurately kind of go, is my case, is my case fluctuating with the suction pressure? What's going on? And you can kind of get a good reading or a good understanding of what exactly is happening. We've gone through all these different menu options, a case, how to find your case, you just scroll through with that. And we went through how to graph and all kinds of things. And also, you have this little drop-down menu there. If you want a quick select, you can just kind of go through like this, hit OK, and quick select through. Now you can also hit next, and it'll automatically go to the next case if you're just looking through them quickly. Now, another thing that you can do that is extremely useful is you can go to here. This is your settings. Click on settings. Now in there, you can go to network nodes and go to points. Now this is all your points in your system. So if you can't find a relay and you want to activate it, typically you can find it from this menu. So you can go up to relays, and it has a list of every single one of your relays and where the boredom point is. And same thing, if you come up here, go to your sensors, has every single one of your sensors plus your boredom point for your sensors. Same with on and off inputs and variable outputs. So we're going to go to our relays. Let's say if we want compressor B1, where is that located? 20-1.1. So all we're going to do is we're going to go over here try to find our Danfoss board. Typically it's just in the rack, not over there apparently. Maybe it's behind it. 20-1, right? You see? So we have communication module 20. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. You see you have each individual boards, and that's how they're labeled, right? And then 1. So relay point number 1 on 20-1, that's where it is. Now, what do you do if you don't have labels? Well, if you look on your communication module right there, you got rotary dials right there. Okay? I believe that's what they're called. So the first one you can see points to 0. The second one points to 2. And the third one points to 0. So 20 is 20, right? And then all you do is you look at the boards in order. So 20-1. And then if we wanted to do this, all we gotta do is squeeze these two, take this out, and we can look. Digital output 1. So 20-1, 1. All right? And that's how you find your board and point. So if you need to check a sensor, oh, by the way, you need to check a fuse. The fuses are right in there as well. You need to check a sensor, you need to check some fuses. That's how you do it, through the board and point menu. Now there's one other menu that, you probably won't really need, but I'm gonna include it. If you go to control, so again, back at the home screen, settings, control, refrigeration. Now here we are, right here. We got circuits. And then we can go to, we just keep getting up till we get up to the top, setup. And now we can look at the setup of every single one of our circuits, and we can see, right? And this is very similar to the setting menu that we have, except this is a bit more extensive than the setting menu. But the setting menu is a pretty quick and easy way to get to it. A couple odd and specific odds and ends I want to include is, first off, suspend alarm generation. So if you are on a case, in this case it's 65, and you go over to settings, actually service, so you actually have this suspend alarm generation. If I turn that on, and then I typed in right here 999999, this alarm will be suspended for 999 minutes. All right, so I have to shut down this case, so I'm suspending of the alarm. Also, another thing is, if you go to your system, the settings right there, the little cog, you go over to control, and you go to refrigeration, go to circuits, and you go to, you get up a couple times, and then you get to setup. Now right here, you can see everything, and you can set more parameters in here than you can from the normal setting menu. Now also, you can go into alarms, and you can make sure that your alarms are correct on your circuit. Now also, we have one more thing, is if you go to here, again, your settings, you go to network nodes, and then you go to points. After you go to your points, right? Now, let's say I go to this relay, let's say compressor relay 1. I can click on it with OK. Now that I'm in here, I can go to this border point right there, that's the address. I hit OK. And now I can change the address if I need. So let's just say if for some reason my board over here that's responsible for my compressor has some issues and I need to change the border point, that I can. Also, a thing that's worth mentioning is if we go to our settings, type in your password, can't show you what it is. If you go to your network nodes, and then you go to your points, like we've already done before. This is, you can also, if you click on them, right, we just went over the readdressing, but you can also turn it on manually from here. Now, just to also show you, so we're gonna go back to this, configuration, or I think settings, and now at the top we're gonna go to control, refrigeration, okay? And now we can actually, so in our rack B, number of circuits, 42. Now, if we were to click on this, okay, and change that to 43, we'll actually get a whole new circuit. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to mess with the program, but we'll actually get a whole new circuit in here somewhere, all right? And what we can do then is we can actually, so if we go to the actual circuit, just like so, we go to our settings, right? We can actually, you know, we can change the name of the circuit to whatever we want it to be. And then when it comes to addressing, when we go and we look, we go to our settings, and then we'll go to our network nodes, points. We'll actually be able to see, now it'll just say, once we add the case, it'll say, you know, meet, you know, refrigeration or whatever, on and off, and the address will actually just be, let's see if there's any like it, it'll actually right there, just be 0000. And we'll actually have to click on this and change our address to what actually exists in real life if let's say we added a case and we wired it into the system. So just wanted to show you over here super quick. So this is actually the HVAC one, a little bit different. And over here you can also see we have some anti-sweats over there as well. But we can use this to navigate over to the HVAC section right there. And again, it's very similar. We can click on it. Again, status, settings, service. So again, you come in here, you got your settings, you know, what's going on with it. You know, you have your service. And in this menu, you know, you got your, in the top section of it, you just kind of have your relays that's significant to your rooftop unit 4 or whatever it happens to be. And you can deal with that or whatever. And then you have a bunch of your sensors and whatnot. Now you can go to settings, okay, just like we did in the refrigeration side of it. And then you can actually go to, you know, network nodes, points, sensors, or relays, and you can look at anything you want from this generic menu. Now you can also, if you click on a sensor, you can also even, you know, if you wanted to, you can change the offset from here rather than from the way that I showed you over on the refrigeration side. So it's exactly the same, except you can see that the menu's right there. Board and points all the same, just slightly different configuration. Another one in network nodes, board and points. If you go to your sensors, let's say, you know, suction pressure, right, whatever your sensor is right here under type, right, you have a list of sensors. Same thing with, you know, temperature sensors, all other kinds of sensors or whatever. You're gonna have a list of sensors right in there where you can select. So for instance, if you replace the temperature probe, you can verify it's correct. There's two more things I want to go over. I don't want to take too long. I don't want to be too long-winded. I want this to kind of just be, you know, like 10-15 minutes to everything you need to know. Hit just this menu here. You can go to history. This is another way that you can graph. Then you hit select, and now you're back at this menu where you can select your relays, your on and off outputs, your variable outputs, other, and relays. Just like so. So the same exact thing, you go into, like, let's say relays, and then you just hit yes, then you hit escape. And now I'm graphing a relay, okay? You can hit select again, and you can select whatever you want. Now, let's say you can graph up to 5 things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's say if I want to restart, I can hit down, down, and now I'm at clear, okay? And now it clears my log, and I can regraph something different. Alrighty, and now, right here, we got a little flap here. You can open this son of a gun up. Seems like it's glued, possibly. No, it's just really hard to open. Open this up in here. We have an area for a flash drive and an Ethernet cord. The flash drive is if you want to back up the program, which you should do before you restart it. That's kind of another video I'm going to have to come up with a post, but that's beyond the scope of what we're doing today. But you see that button right there? That little button in there, that little hole, you stick like a pencil in or a wire in, and clicking that in will restart this board. So let's say if you found a frozen board or something like that, that'll restart it. Actually, one more thing, go to settings, network nodes, nodes overview, right there. We're going to hit down, 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 right there for complete rescan. Now, every once in a while, your board will say, I can't communicate with this, I can't communicate with that. If you do a full rescan on that, it'll rescan everything, and a lot of the times it'll actually fix the problem. It's just kind of like a glitch, and it'll figure itself out. Now be careful, when you rescan, Again, you got to download the program on a flash drive because it's possible to wipe the entire system. Anyway, that's Danfoss controllers in about, I don't know, 15 to 20 minutes. Everything you need to know for 99% of service calls. I hope that helped you. So we went over, you know, condensers, suction groups, cases, how to graph your temperatures, how to change settings on everything, where to find your settings on everything, what service is about, how to graph multiple things, how to set up your graph. I guess one more thing with the graphs, come to think about it, is we're gonna go down here. We also went over how to reset, what is, you know, all that good stuff, device history. So we're looking at this, right there is time. The only thing I didn't go over is time. So you can actually select the month, day, and year, and the time, and then you can set your rate. Anyway, that's how you do it. 99% of everything you need to know about a Danfoss controller, 880 controller, and I hope to learn a thing or two about a thing or two. Please leave a comment below, and let me know if you have anything else to add. Anything else you want to see? Hopefully I'll do the same thing with Emerson E2 controller eventually. Thank you, and that's how you do it.